What's up, everybody? Tripp Morgan here for Panthers Sourced, and I'm joined by,
Billy Harless.
as always, we're here to talk a little bit. Sorry, first of all, I apologize for last night and not being able to make the show. Stuff came up, it happens. But we're here tonight. We're going to talk about it. We're here to talk final 53-man roster projections. On the eve of the last preseason game, because they really start these things. They start the cuts flying, Friday morning. And obviously, we don't want to get up here and talk about it after they've made the cuts and make projections, because it wouldn't really be much of a projection, would it, Billy? No, it would not. So we're here tonight to talk to y'all. I put out some questions on some key position battles on the offense, running back and wide receiver. We'll get to some of those fan comments that y'all dropped in there. Some good stuff. A lot of y'all had the same thoughts that kind of, Billy and I did as well. So we're going to hit on that. But right now, go ahead and if you haven't already, like and follow right here on Facebook. You'll also notice tonight, some of you anyway, we are live on Facebook and YouTube simultaneously. And I think hopefully this goes well and we'll keep doing this. We're giving it a try because, we switch back and forth. So y'all be sure to like and follow us right here and subscribe to us on YouTube if you're a YouTuber. You prefer that platform. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube. Google Play, TuneIn Radio, all that good stuff. So be sure to check us out on all those in the podcast form anyway of those. So why don't we just go ahead and get it started here? And we'll start with, I think we'll go ahead and get an obvious position out of the way. Quarterback. I don't know who's going to be our quarterback, Billy.
Number one's locked.
We need to call up Derek Anderson, or maybe Josh McCown. I'm really worried about this position this year.
No worries for me. Cam Newton's definitely a lock at number one. Second string, I like Heineke.
Yeah, I think right now he's the favorite, and just judging by the last two games. Originally, it was kind of Garrett Gilbert had the edge in the first game. Heineke came out and kind of solidified himself and has been that second guy ever since. And he's actually getting the start tomorrow. I believe Gilbert is he's going to play the second quarter, and then Allen is going to get the whole second half. And I think he's pretty much out. But I agree. I think it's Heineke, and it'll be interesting to see if they keep 3 QBs on the roster. I mean, they've done it in the past with Derek Anderson and Joe Webb.
Well, with Joe Webb, the special teams, special teams
he was
tools.
A huge
so
special teams.
Garrett Gilbert is just there to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
So keeping 3 with those two, probably not. He doesn't have the skill set that Joe Webb had.
Yeah, he's not going to be running out there like the Saints' backup quarterback on special teams making these crazy tackles, or like a Joe Webb, for instance. So, yeah, that'll be something to watch there as well. Like I said, this knocked that one out of the park. I think it's Cam Newton. Hopefully he stays healthy all year. He's had a full off-season training camp for the first time since the 2015. I don't mean to throw things like this out there, by the way. But it's just a fact. It's always good to come in fully healthy, rested, and be able to get all that work with completely new weapons at receiver. So, moving on, we're going to hit the running back position, and this is actually a spot that I asked one of those fan questions on Facebook. Had a lot of you guys chime in. I'm trying to keep up with y'all's comments too, by the way. Mike Strib saying QB1. Yeah, I think that's safe to say. I think that's a very safe bet.
Yeah.
So moving on anyway, like I said, running back, we talked about, trying to get y'all's stuff pulled up here, sorry. We talked about a couple of guys this offseason. Obviously, there was a lot of talk around Christian McCaffrey getting a lot of work. And he has. This preseason, he has gotten all of it. And C.J. Anderson was picked up this offseason and hasn't. I mean, he's been playing with a second string a lot, and Christian McCaffrey's been getting his full workload. We've talked about it. I think those are your 1 and 2 guys. We didn't bring C.J. Anderson in to be a third, and we kind of know what he can do, right?
Yes, but we haven't seen it yet. But then again, he has been playing behind the 2s and 3s. He hasn't impressed me like he did in Denver.
And I mean, he is playing with the backup offensive line a lot of the times, and that kind of plays a factor, and we've talked about that a little bit too. And it's just really hard to judge. And again, this is still preseason. You're not seeing a whole lot of things there. So I feel like we know what C.J. Anderson can do. We've seen it. I think we may continue to see it on those short goals to goes. But and then you got Alex Armah, who's really kind of going to be playing that fullback role, but in there with the running backs. And then this is really the question we've been talking about all preseason and training camp, and this is the question I put out for fans on the page, asking everybody, look, between Cameron Artis-Payne, who was a draft pick, and Kenyon Barner, who was also a draft pick years ago and went to the Eagles, who got a Super Bowl ring last year, comes back this year. These two guys are really just going at it right now in the preseason. Yeah. It's really up for grabs. Cameron Artis-Payne has been inconsistent, and we asked a lot of you guys what y'all's thoughts were on this, and I've got some comments to pull up right here. Dominic Davis was commenting in saying, that's tough. I like both of them and would like it if they both could stay, but if or since I have to choose one, it'd be Kenyon because he makes great additions and cuts through the hole. Good point. I mean, we know Kenyon's a faster guy.
Yeah.
He's always had that burst. He was a special teamer. He's also, when he went to Philadelphia, he did many returns, punt returns and stuff on that special teams unit and had success with it. So we know he can bring that to the team, which is always a plus with the Carolina Panthers and Ron Rivera. We've seen it time and time again. Guys like Demir Bird, who we'll get to shortly. You were just talking about it, Joe Webb. That was a huge thing with Joe Webb, is he thrived off special teams, and he was good at it. And then we got right here, Scott Carter, keep both, but keep only 2 tight ends, which means get rid of Manhurts, so it will be Olsen and Thomas as your tight ends and use Alex Armah as a fullback tight end combo. It's kind of interesting, and I see that. I don't think that'll happen. Manhurts was really going into this training camp before he got hurt was the number 2 guy. Yeah. And obviously there was a lot of upside with Ian Thomas, a lot of hype around him, and he's proven that, and I think he's solidified the number 2 spot, even when Manhurts comes back. But I don't. You can't keep Cap and Kenyon Barner. I don't. Especially with the offensive line, and that's really one thing that's going to play in all these positional battles is the banged up offensive line right now. You've got to have depth there, and you got to keep some guys. So I don't see him keeping Cap and Kenyon.
And looking at their stats,
and I think you need to keep 3 tight ends as well.
And looking at their stats, Cap, he had 18 attempts in the preseason so far with only 34 yards. Barner, of course, was playing late in game, so he's playing worst defensive players. He's had 9 attempts for 7 yards.
Who's that?
Barner.
Yeah, and that's something people were bringing up as well. Talking about this preseason, that he's really shown out better than Cap has, and we'll continue going right on down these fan comments actually, because some of these we're talking about were brought up. Jeremy Clancy, Barner is more versatile. He's put some size on since he left us and is still pretty fast. Plus special teams value, no-brainer. Again, there's a special teams thing being brought up. A lot of everybody, Panther fans know that that's kind of a recurring thing with Ron Rivera and the team. And yes, I agree. I think Barner's more versatile. I mean, you're just kind of talking about it.
Yeah, and I think he's more versatile, and special teams with Ron Rivera and the Carolina Panthers, special teams, huge part of this. Something that defense and special teams, Rivera is very highly sought after players that can.
So I think I got one more comment that somebody dropped in there. Thomas Hayes, it'll be Barner, I think, because they always want that extra guy to be able to contribute in special teams. Boom. Again, do you see the repetitiveness here? It's special teams. And I tend to agree, but right now you also have to think too. The thing that kind of plays in Cap's favor is he's been here the last, since he was drafted, last 3 years, and he knows this. He knows this offense. Yep. He knows his team. He knows his staff. Barner knows it a little bit too. He hasn't been here a few years, but he still knows his team as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
And then you have to look at, if we're going to keep him for special teams, you have to go look at our wide receivers, because some of them are going to be special teams also. Mm-hmm. So
it'll be nice to help take some of that away from those guys. Yeah. Some of that extra playing time and chance to get injured.
But yeah, I mean, if we're going to go deep at running back, then we can't go deep wide receiver, where some of our faster players, special team.
Yeah. I agree with you there. It's going to be that's really going to be interesting, and tomorrow night is really going to play a big factor in all of this. Yep. I mean, obviously these guys are going to get the most reps. Kind of like Kenyon Barner said, in the locker room. I think it was yesterday. He was saying, "Look, there's 31 other flavors in the NFL." Talking Baskin-Robbins quotes over here, but there is 31 other teams in the NFL. These guys, we look at it as a Panther standpoint, but we got to remember at the end of the day, this is also players' livelihoods, family livelihoods on the line. So they're not just going out there. Sure, they want to stick with the Panthers, absolutely, but they want to prove themselves to be able to go on another roster and make some money, provide for their family, and do what they love doing.
Win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, you want to stay in Carolina
Yeah.
if you want to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. I hope so anyway.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
he did get his Eagle.
Yeah. So those are y'all's comments on the running back situation. I'm going to hit y'all's comments streaming in here on Facebook right quick. Ron Simpson on the running back saying CJ will pop. He's the type of runner that gets stronger as he gets more reps. I don't disagree with that. And that was my whole thing when D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart were here, and they started kind of the double trouble thing started kind of winding off and with success. We always said, look, Jonathan Stewart has to be fed the rock to have momentum and repetitions and get something going, get in a rhythm. You can't just keep switching these guys in and out. The only issue with this is Christian McCaffrey right now is getting a workload.
Yeah.
CJ Anderson, unless they are just completely, throwing a loop and everybody's in the system right now, Christian McCaffrey's getting the bulk of these carries going into the regular season. And I think that's a good thing. He's shown what he can do with it.
I think he's earned it. He's put that weight on. He's kept his speed. He's better at decision making, hitting the holes. And I was really surprised that we've seen McCaffrey go up the middle. I mean, right through the A gap, but I thought that we would see more of CJ Anderson do it. McCaffrey showing how versatile he is with that weight gain and the speed still, that CJ Anderson is just watch right now. And
I'm really interested to see how they use CJ Anderson, though. That's in the regular season. It's going to be something because, we talked about it after, I think it was the Dolphins game, the second game, when CJ Anderson was interviewed on the sideline saying, he just seemed disappointed in what he's being given right now in the preseason reps-wise and where he's playing. And, I mean, it took a lot of fans by surprise. A lot of people were coming in here talking about, we got CJ Anderson. This is great. We got that smash, that ground and pound with him and McCaffrey. And through the training camp, I've been saying, one of the few people saying, I think McCaffrey needs more touches. I think he deserves a chance to do that. He did it at Stanford. He showed he could hold up. Yeah, he's a smaller guy. But until he proves otherwise, why not give him a shot?
Yeah.
And you got CJ Anderson for pennies on the dollar for a 1-year contract. So, I mean,
and we've seen vanilla we've seen vanilla football so far. So we haven't. Both of them can be in the backfield at one time.
And we know CJ Anderson's on the team, so he's not going anywhere. He's the number 2 guy. Moving on anyway. Austin Wright saying it's going to be Bonner over Cap. Carl Van, time for Cap. He's just still going on the Munnerlin thing. Michael Mendez, I agree with getting rid of Van Hertz to make room for another receiver or O-line help. You got to have that. You got to have a third tight end there. I personally think anyway. Ron Simpson, you can't dump Van Hertz. Olsen will be gone sooner than later. We need depth at that position, even as for next year. Boom.
And I feel that Ian Thomas is that person just to step right in behind Greg. If he doesn't step in front of Greg before the end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
At this point.
And that's something that we have to keep an eye on. I mean, it's just like, we're talking about sitting here, we've mentioned Taylor Moton and stuff, and we'll get into all those positions later on. But, Ian Thomas has flashed. And Greg Olson's still Greg Olson. We saw that in that 2-minute drill. But you could definitely see some good things come out of Ian Thomas. I think Thomas will be fine once Olson retires, even if Van Hertz is a better blocker. I think Thomas is a better blocker right now, personally. I think that's one of the reasons they drafted him. He showed that ability, and you've seen it in there in the preseason. Ken Duncombe, don't forget Samuel played a little running back, so Barner and Cap might be gone. We're going to hit on Samuel right here in a minute, actually. John Dre talking about C.J. Anderson at the goal line. I tend to agree there. Wintertime for C.J.
But they haven't tried that yet.
No, they haven't.
It's been CMC every time at the goal line.
And
they haven't even put Arma in.
Yeah. CMC can get skinny there.
Yeah.
I mean, and all of this goes back to also having these weapons at your disposal. Yeah. I mean, it's nice to sit here for a deep, we can't even decide who they're going to give the ball to on a short yardage situation to move the chains or get a touchdown. What do you think the defense is thinking? Or these defensive coordinators are thinking? I mean, not that we obviously are defensive coordinators. I'm not saying that, but they're thinking the same thing. They've got all these weapons. We don't know who the ball could go to right here. It's nice to finally be able to talk about it like that. Chandra again saying CJ will be at the goal line, snaps to power in there if CMC didn't run to the house already. I like the latter of that statement. But anyway, we're going to move on to the next one, which is the second question I posed on Facebook for everybody. to get your votes and your comments to post up here. What do you think the defense is thinking? Or these defensive coordinators are thinking? I mean, not that we obviously are defensive coordinators. I'm not saying that, but I they're thinking the same thing. Wide receiver position. This is something, obviously has been a popular topic this offseason, training camp, and preseason. We know we have Devin Funchess, DJ Moore, you got Jarris Wright, Torrey Smith, who we're going to hit on, but a lot of fans aren't happy with right now. Curtis Samuel, and then the odd man looking out right now is Damiere Byrd, wide receiver. Billy, what are your thoughts on this? We've kind of hit on the Panthers keeping 6 receivers. Damiere Byrd, we've talked special teams, how it affects people. What are you thinking right now with Damiere Byrd? He's had big preseasons his last 2 years with the Panthers. Haven't really seen that this year.
Yeah, we haven't. But you haven't seen anything from Torrey Smith.
Yeah.
Like that's the hard part is you have this veteran in Torrey Smith, but you haven't seen from him yet. I guess we paid him to come keep him, but
yeah.
I'd rather see him leave.
Oh,
I'd rather see Damiere Byrd, like, to be honest, at this point. Now we're in preseason. We're not a full first team for whole game, vanilla offense. Maybe that's the reason. And even DJ Moore, he hasn't shown anything. So, but you have to keep your draft pick.
Yeah, right. And Torrey Smith was asked about this week, and he told reporters, if you go back and look statistically, he has terrible preseason. And hey, look, that's fair. I mean, we've talked about it again and again and again. Still preseason. I'm not going to judge Torrey Smith off preseason.
Yeah.
But a lot of fans weren't happy. We were dropping $5 million on him. And I'm gonna hit some of y'all's. Speaking of that, I'm gonna hit some of y'all's comments right here and show them. Josh Hall, God, I hope they keep Byrd. I think he is a dynamic playmaker when healthy. We need him for kickoff and punt returns as well. Can't keep putting McCaffrey back there for returns. I don't think you have to worry about McCaffrey being back there this year. We have plenty of options. You saw DJ Moore get some reps back there. Curtis Samuel's also gotten reps back there. Damiere Byrd, obviously, as we're talking about. So I think that's a good point, and I don't think you'll have to worry about seeing CMC back there with the way they want to load him up on the running back position this year. Michael Mendez, I know they need offensive line help, plus they want to keep 3 tight ends, but I would maybe have to let Manhurts go. I don't know where I grabbed that from, but moving on. David Nixon, before all the injuries to the offensive line, I thought he would make it for sure, but now I think he's out. And this is really the thing. This is my personal thought anyway. I said it in the last post-game show last week following the Patriots game. Even with Byrd not having a huge preseason like he has in the past, I felt like he would still make the team. But now with the offensive line banged up, it changes things. You have to, going into week 1 with Dallas, we still don't know if Darrell Williams is going to be available. Matt Khalil is going to be available. I hope he heals, but we hope he's not available. So I don't know. They might want to use that roster spot, but here's the other thing, the dilemma with that. If you put Damiere Byrd through waivers, he is gone. Yeah. I would feel comfortable saying that, and I think everybody else feels the same way. He's gone. He's not going to make it back. So the offensive line, again, is going to play a big spot here in what ended up deciding. Andrew Batten, let go of Torrey Smith, keep Byrd, retain $5 million. I saved that one for last just because of the way we've kind of we've been talking about it. I mean, that's pretty much what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
If you're going to – and really right now, I think a guy that needs to be getting more reps is Curtis Samuel. I mean, he's doing work.
He is. Curtis Samuel is really good, just healthy. Yeah. That's his issue.
And he's still in his second season.
Yeah, but he, even through college and last year, he's injury prone.
Yeah.
But if he can stay healthy, he is going to be really good.
Yeah. He's got like 9 catches, 165 yards throughout the 3 preseason games at the time and snaps he's played. 18.4 yard per catch average, I think that is. That's ridiculous. That's what we've been looking for. And it is preseason. Look, he's played a lot of time with second and third stringers as well. So we have to keep that in mind, even for guys we're praising and pulling for. But I don't think I just feel like he's got all the talent in the world. I was a big fan of him last year. A lot of people have started getting on him about his health issues this offseason, saying we need to drop him. We spent a second round pick on this guy. You can't just draft him. You can't just drop him after 1 year because he had a freak injury. And he's shown his ability now to go up and get the ball. He's using his hands more. Somebody brought it up in the comments earlier. He has that versatility to do running back. And, with CMC, we saw triple options with him and Cam and CMC last year.
And going back, and I've thought about this. I mentioned it that there was a quote where they had told Cam, "Hey, in this offense, now I'm here. It's okay to check down."
Yeah.
That could be some of our receivers' problems.
Yep.
Is Cam Newton is not throwing the ball, forcing it down the field. He's finding the open receiver, even if it's 5 yards underneath. DMC coming across the middle, somebody getting in a soft zone, breaking off the route. That's not something that Cam has done in the past. So that can make a huge difference in the stat line.
Right.
And Torrey Smith is a burner. That could be the reason. He's not going deep.
Yeah.
So I think the wide receivers aren't going to have huge games.
Yeah.
And thinking about that through the preseason games, I think that could be the major reason.
And that's fine. I mean, when Cam had his MVP season in 2015, he was spreading the ball around. Because that's what shocked everybody. It was like, this offense is – Cam's doing this with Philly Brown, Ted Ginn at the time, who was pretty much a no-name, and, a rookie Devin Funchess. Yeah. And then he did have Jericho Cotchery, which is a big veteran.
And he got so used to forcing it to KB.
To Kelvin Benjamin,
and he learned, but then last year he was back to, forcing the ball.
Yeah.
But the quote they used was, "We've told him it's okay to check down." You've seen that more in the preseason. He's not going. We don't want the big plays all the time. When it's there, take it. Don't force it.
Yeah. So. And I think and again, Chris, like you said, these receivers are going to be better for that, especially a guy like DJ Moore, who is you get him for his run after catch ability on those short gains, and then to take the ball the distance. Having Christian McCaffrey obviously is also going to help that. But back to Damiere Byrd, it's really a toss up for me at this point. I really don't know which way to lean. I'd like to lean towards keeping him just because we saw what poor depth, and not that we have poor depth now, but slim depth at wide receiver last year cost us really a playoff win. I mean, that's just, and maybe wins throughout the season with injuries to Devin Funchess playing injured, Curtis Samuel, Damiere Byrd going out. I think you need that depth there, and if you can if you think you're going to get Darrell Williams back in a couple weeks, try to piece together the offensive line and keep Damiere Byrd in Carolina this year. That would be my thought. And try to hit some of y'all's comments here. Y'all are rolling them in. Keep them coming. Thank you. Let's see. Dante Ames saying, "Let go of Barner. We let him go before." Let's see, Johans West saying, "I like Byrd, Wright, Moore, Samuel's potential." Yes, and we didn't hit much on Jarris Wright, but I said it when we signed him early this offseason. I feel like he's a huge addition, especially for moving the chains. He's proved that in the preseason. He's going to be a guy a lot of people are going to grow to love that could take that former Jericho Cotchery role, that veteran role, because he's not getting, Torrey Smith gets talked about for veteran leadership in the wide receiver room. Jarris Wright's a veteran. I mean, this guy's been in the league for years. I think he's 2 years younger than Torrey Smith, but I mean, he's a veteran too. He's been around. So, Lee, QC Genius. I hate to say Torrey Smith is the most expensive to keep if he and Byrd are close. And that's fair points. I understand that, but I don't think you're going to see Torrey Smith go anywhere. Nudie. If they keep Byrd, Barner should go. If you keep Barner, that's going to force a tough decision on Byrd. It comes down to special teams, punt returns. I mean, yeah, they could also let go of Cap. I mean, and keep Barner. I'm not. They're not going to keep Barner and Cap. I'd be pretty surprised about that. I'll go on record for that one. Is Torrey faster than Curtis and Byrd? No. I think Torrey ran like a 4.4 something at his combine, and so I wouldn't imagine he's still that fast now.
Yeah.
But we know Samuel and Byrd were faster. So, Johans saying, should we keep Cap or Barner? I kind of lean towards Barner because of his versatility. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, we're rolling in here. All right, we're going to move on to the next one. So, hopefully we keep Damiere Byrd. We'll see what happens. Maybe he can show out some more tomorrow. Tight end, we kind of got brought up a couple times with the Manhurts injury and stuff. I think we know our first. This is another easy position, right?
I mean, the veteran is going to be number one. Yes.
It's Greg Olsen. Yeah. He's one of the best tight ends in NFL history, probably. He's the only tight end in NFL history with 3 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons before that bad injury last year hampered him. And now he's back, and he looks better. Hopefully we'll see that transcribe. And even, having these other weapons ought to help open the middle of the field for him. Number 2 is the rookie draft pick, Ian Thomas, looking good. Looking great. He's got a touchdown. He's shown the speed. I'm hoping the 2 tight end sets. He's a hell of a blocker. That's a big plus in this offense. Greg Olsen has struggled at times with blocking. but he makes up for it obviously in the receiving end of things. And then the third spot, you're going to have Chris Manhertz and Chris Manhertz got injured this offseason. He's still going to make the 53. I believe. I actually think he may. I ain't gonna say I'm not sure, but Chris Manhertz I think makes those three make the 53. And Jordan Vanderland was a guy that was making some noise in training camp. He's been battling injury, but I don't think he has a shot now behind Manhertz. And I think that's pretty much sums up on that. The tight end spot, I think we know where everybody's going to do. Y'all can comment on that if you want. Throw out some other options, but I think that's about it.
And I've stashed Ian Thomas in fantasy.
Yes, he did. Billy did stash him.
Just for the fact that Greg Olson's getting old. And they haven't been connecting in the preseason, so hopefully it pans out.
I don't know where that's going to go. I think future Ian Thomas is definitely going to be for dynasty leagues and stuff like that. I think that's going to be a clutch pickup. Moving on, offensive line. Here we go. The worrisome, happy, what's going to make the difference at a couple different positions. I mean, this is really going to be the telltale for a couple of these spots we've already talked about and mentioned. You got Trey Turner, obviously Ryan Khalil, Van Roten's in there, left guard. Matt Khalil will be there to the demise of many Panthers fans. Guard and tackle, Taylor Moton, second-year player, draft pick last year. Brendan Mann, we got him out of Penn State. He's a rookie undrafted free agent we picked up this year. He's done well. Coaches really like him. I think he's going to be in there. Blaine Clausel filled in for. We'll start with Darrell Williams. Darrell Williams injured. He's going to be on this team. We know that. All pro from last year, and then you got Jeremiah Surlis, who was picked up from Minnesota, free agent pickup this offseason. Started at right tackle for Darrell. Darrell Williams spot at right tackle last week. Taylor Moton switched to left tackle. Matt Khalil went out with the surgery. And, man, this is really musical offensive line. It's hard to keep up with this weekend.
It's been that way for a while.
And then Jeremiah Surlis went out with a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
And Blaine Clausel, the backup of the backup, third string, came in and filled in at right tackle and did a pretty decent job, which is a nice surprise considering the depth issue we're facing right now there. So, I mean, all these guys right now, I think, are you have to keep. I mean, you don't really have a choice. You can still see them bring somebody in. I mean, Ron Rivera already said that Marty and them were talking and looking and stuff like this. So you could still see him bring somebody in. You might not see him bring anybody in if they feel like they're going to get Darrell Williams and Matt Khalil back. In week 2, you might just want to try to get through Dallas with this. So that's really going to be the piece. And I really like where this offensive line. I mean, outside of the depth, obviously. I like what I saw last week against the Patriots. Taylor Moton at left tackle. I mean, he had a moment or two, but overall, I think this offensive line didn't give up a sack at all.
Yeah, and to be pieced together and moved around, which I mean, this is the second year it's happened for us, but they're doing what they need to do. Yeah. But how long can these players that are coming up from the third string, backup of backups?
Yeah. Your luck runs out.
Yeah, can they keep up with, the number ones going across when we get into a real regular season? Yeah.
And it's like, I told somebody on Twitter, I think it was the other day, this offensive line, this kind of thing happened in the middle of a season in 2014 before the whole season turned around. We made the playoffs in that freak year, won NFC South. And it was because of that offensive line shift up when Andrew Norwell ended up being the starter and we were switching everything around. And that carried over into the 2015 season. And right now, I feel like I'm not saying it's going to be as good as that offensive line. I'm just saying it kind of feels like that same thing where, injuries are piling up, but you're getting that shifted offensive line. And maybe the chemistry is better this way. And maybe these players are finding where they actually fit. But either way, it's working. And I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it working. I want to keep some depth. Hopefully Darrell Williams and even Matt Khalil get back soon because Matt Khalil gives up sacks, but you could do much worse.
Yes.
I mean, you could still do much worse. He's just getting paid too much money.
Let's just hope Ryan has a good pillow this season.
Yes, and no neck injuries.
No neck injuries from sleeping.
Somebody buy this man a sleep number bed. Somebody buy that guy a sleep number bed. All right, cornerback spot. Guys, I saw somebody talking about defensive end. We're going to hit all that right here in a second. We're rolling down our list. Cornerback, number 1, you got James Bradbury. I think he's a shoe-in. Number 2 right now, Dante Jackson. The rookie everybody's infatuated with, is doing work. speedster. Really liking what we've seen. I mean, he made that great play against the Patriots last week on that third and short. Yep. Closing speed's phenomenal. Then you got Captain Munderland and Corn Elder. I saw somebody, we had talks about Captain Munderland struggling that last game. He saw it too. He got on Twitter, and he was saying, I missed one tackle, guys, this preseason. I'll make up for it. Don't worry about this, with the crying, laughing emoji. But it wasn't really the missed tackle that concerned me more. It was him carrying guys too deep and leaving guys open underneath on third and longs and then picking up easy yardage. I do feel like that's fixable. I'm not going to freak out on Captain Munderland just yet. Corn Elder is also coming back from injury, draft pick last year. It showed promise in his preseason. It's looked good. So we also have that at the nickel spot. I'm not really too concerned. We've got good depth at the nickel spot right now if they can stay healthy. The big question is, after the first preseason game, Devon Seymour just got beat up by Kelvin Benjamin.
Yes.
And he hasn't got much playing time since. And he is on the outside now looking in. Lorenzo Doss is another name that has came in and has done well in these preseason games, and his little bit of time he's played as well. Devon Seymour could go from taking Darryl Worley's spot and kind of forcing Darryl Worley out last season to being off this team in a matter of an offseason.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I would agree. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to complain all season. if he's somewhere else or he's at home, I don't have to complain all season, because what we saw in preseason week 1 was awful.
Yeah. That was rough, and it's really showed in the snap count since then. So, I mean, we'll just see how it plays out. I kind of feel like Doss might have an edge, but Kevon Seymour has the experience.
Yep.
And he's also played that nickel role, so that would add another depth spot at the nickel position. So he kind of has that too. And Doss may be able to play that as well. I'm not real familiar with him there, but nonetheless, moving on. Safety, this is an easy one. Mike Adams, Rashawn Gaulden, Denor Searcy. He is out of the concussion protocol. He's back practicing this week. And then Colin Jones, obviously big special teamer guy. So that's an easy one. Rashawn Gaulden, the rookie draft pick. He had to play for Denor Searcy last week. Didn't really hear his name, but that's a good thing. We talked about that. So I feel like that's your safety spot right there. Defensive line. Guys who are going to get after it. We got the future Hall of Famer Julius Peppers, Mario Addison, rotational defensive end Wes Horton, defensive tackle Quan Short, Don Terry Poe, Kyle Love, and Vernon Butler. I know some people have been talking about trading him lately for offensive line piece. That's interesting, and I mean that kind of makes some sense if you can find somebody worth it. But the one to talk about right now also that I feel like could make the squad is defensive end Marcus Haynes. Has had a really good preseason. His speed rush is unbelievable, and in a rotation form on the third and longs or third downs, he could really come in and cause some issues. He's done it all preseason. They loved him in training camp. I think he makes his team. And then the other thing is Deshaun Hall, the draft pick from last year, got injured. He put on some muscle this year, which was nice to see. It looks like he may be heading back to the practice squad. Hasn't really shown a whole lot. I feel like he's going to go there anyway. But Marcus Haynes will take that spot up there on the defensive line. And I think Marcus Haynes, somebody was talking about it earlier, defensive line, go out this year. Marcus Haynes in a rotational form, I feel like could make some noise. Mario Addison has been doing his thing. Hopefully Julius Peppers keeps going and gets that, third spot on the NFL's all-time sack list this year. Hopefully that happens too. And Quan Short, Don Terry Poe in the middle, that's going to be fun to watch. That's a hell of a front four right there. That's the Monstars.
Yeah. We this defense is going to be really fun to watch again.
Yeah, and hopefully they have had some wide open lanes though.
Yeah.
In the preseason in the running game. We'll see what happens going into start the regular season against them Cowboys and Cowgirls. Hitting y'all's comments again. Are we obligated to draft a pass rusher first round to replace Peppers next year? At first round, no. I think you find defensive end is a position that takes time to groom. It's rare to get like a Myles Garrett. You're going to need like a top draft pick, which we don't want because that means we have a bad season. But I think you can find guys in the second and third rounds that can be immediate contributors, but you're not wasting spending a first round draft pick on.
And I talking about next year's draft, which thinking that far ahead is just crazy. But today on the radio show I was listening to, they were talking about next year's draft, and this year is running backs. Next year they say it's going to be all defensive, like top players.
Really? Yeah.
So they were throwing names around that these are great players. They had Saints coach on there talking about it.
Oh yeah, Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. They had Sean Payton talking about
They
it.
would, because he just
But
gave up a first round.
They were
pick
like they're already counting down. It's like 200 and whatever days to the draft. Like, why are you already? That's crazy.
The NFL, you can't cover the NFL enough right now, and football in general. Nudie Coleek seems to have fallen off. They had high hopes for him last year. Yeah, he had a huge training camp last year, Nudie, and his kind of just really disappeared. And the draft of Corn Elder and Dante Jackson didn't help that, getting that depth there. Has Butler been playing? Yeah, I think, Mike, I'm pretty sure. I think I've seen him in there. I don't think he's hurt right now. I see Lee in here commenting, Gurr of Vernon Butler. I know a lot of fans are frustrated with him and injuries too. Michael Mendez saying about a draft or a linebacker to replace TD. I think we have our linebacker, and we're about to. Actually, I think that's next on our list. Yep. And we'll go ahead and hit that. Who was that was asking about that? Oop. It was. I think it was Lee. I don't know. I'll go ahead and hit it. We'll go ahead and hit that. So I forgot who was asking it, but
Michael Mendez.
Michael Mendez. Okay, Michael. So linebacker wise, I think you have your replacement for Thomas Davis. Hopefully, if everything keeps on the same path, Shaq Thompson's our guy right now. This could be the year of Shaq, because Thomas Davis's 4-game suspension is going to play key in this depth right now to start with on this roster as well. 4-game suspension. Shaq Thompson is going to be in there. The draft pick Jermaine Carter Jr. is the team and the staff really loves him. He's played well along with Marcus Haynes in this defense through the preseason and training camp. And Jermaine Carter Jr. will also be on this team, I believe, to start anyway, while Thomas Davis is out.
Yep.
Just for that depth spot, you got to have it. And then obviously you have Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Shaq Thompson, David Mayo's another guy who the teams loved behind. You've seen him in there playing. He actually started getting some snaps with the first string last week as they started to wean Thomas Davis out to get some of these other guys some looks. And then Andre Smith, he's been battling injury. He'll be in there. Jared Norris and Ben Jacobs, both good special teams guys, but also have experience with his team. And like I said before, the four-game suspension is going to play a part here. And the Panthers have shown, talking about drafting linebackers, the Panthers have also shown that they're not afraid to draft linebackers. I mean, we've had Thomas Davis, Luke Kuechly, and then Shaq Thompson, all these guys, and you had A.J. Klein at one point too.
Yep.
You had these guys in their prime, and you're still going out there drafting guys, which is, it's panned out perfect. We question it a lot of times, but now it's looking good.
Yeah, you want the depth there, but then you get, you draft a top prospect for the linebacker, and then you get a veteran to teach him the NFL game, and it makes the player so much better. And I'm ready to see Shaq Thompson as a number one and on the field in a linebacker position.
Yes, not covering the slot receivers like we saw so much in that man scheme from not Eric Washington, Steve Wilkes last year.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Not good. Not a good idea. And then we're going to round this out, and I'm going to hit y'all's comments one more time. Special teams, woohoo! Rip Morgan, Billy Harless, I'm punting. He's long snapper. No, I'm just kidding. Graham Gano, obviously we just paid him a contract extension. Field goal kicker, punter Michael Pilardi, and then long snapper J.J. Jansen, who's been with the team for years now. Vet, savvy, funny, the guy. That rounds it out special teams wise. I'm going to hit y'all's comments so we can discuss a little bit more before we jump off of here. Because Billy and I got a fantasy draft to get to. Going to go draft some Panthers, maybe one. Colton Cohen, Shaq has done everything we could ask since he was drafted. Yes, I agree. Michael Mendez, that's true. They drafted Luke while still having John Beeson and didn't fear drafting more linebacker depth. Exactly. And man, what a pick Luke Kuechly has turned out to be. Nudie, you think Mayo could potentially be traded if these young linebackers keep playing well? That's a good thought. I don't know, because Luke has praised Jermaine Carter a lot and some other guys, those young linebackers, and that's gonna be interesting. You never know if they draft another one next year too. So Mayo might be something to watch. Trades are always interesting to me.
They can come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the thing. Like,
I don't know what you'd really get for him. You can't get like too much for David Mayo. I mean, he's a solid backup right now. He's kind of like an AJ Klein who just got paid for the Saints and is doing well. So
I thought AJ Klein was pretty damn good.
yeah, I thought his coverage was a little bit. I thought he was a little slow in coverage, but he is a hell of a run tackler, and he did well with the Saints last year. I'm happy for him. I was pulling for him. I like AJ Klein a lot. He needed to be starting somewhere. Carlton, the only reason stats haven't exploded is playing time. I'm assuming he's talking about Shaq Thompson. Shaq really seems.
And that was what we talked about. We were waiting for Thomas Davis to finally be off the field because for the first 2 games of the preseason, Thomas Davis was starting.
Yep, and that's what we were talking about. Like, you're not putting the guy in who's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be on his couch.
Yep.
We need to see the number 1 linebacker core.
Yep. Nudie, Colin Jones isn't the answer. He's getting up in age and has been here like 3 years and can't get a starting position on our team. That's lacked safety for years. Time to move on from Jones. Yes, but Colin Jones is a huge special teams piece, and he has struggled at times at the safety position. You know, every time he goes in, we're like, oh, God, I don't get beaten. He's got speed. But he's also, every now and then, he makes that flashy pick.
Yeah.
Comes up underneath and just picks a guy off. So, kind of got to take the good with the bad. No, he's not going to be an elite guy. I don't think he's ever going to be a starter. But I mean, if you're getting down deep into your depth at safety, like almost we did with Denor Searcy, I think it's good to have a guy versatile like Colin Jones sitting there. So, got another comment rolling in here. Eric doing great, in my opinion, but we got to see when the real football starts. Yeah, we're going to see what Eric Washington is going to bring. I like the fact that he seems to want to let his defensive line, you know, he's a defensive line coach first. Let them do the pass rushing. Don't send so many blitzes. Dante Ames, Carter Jr. is a beast already. I agree. He's been looking good. I can say beast. Wrong word. I feel like some of these words are thrown out lightly nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's looking solid. William Ian Taylor chiming in, wanting to know what the verdict on Bird and the wide receivers, 5 or 6. We don't know yet, but we're hoping 6 because of what we saw and this team went through last year. Ultimately, probably cost them a playoff win. I mean, that's plain and simple for me. So, but anyway, guys, I'm gonna check the YouTube's chat right quick before we get out of here. I need to exit out of that. Yep, that's about it there. So, said we're live right now. We are live now on Facebook and YouTube. We're going to be doing this simultaneously. You know, Facebook is really our home, but we love the YouTube platform as well. So we're going to try to keep doing this. It's going to take some getting used to. You see me kind of scrolling around, getting used to things here. You know, one of the software chat wasn't actually working today, so I've been having to kind of jump back and forth. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to have more information coming. We will be here tomorrow night for the post-game show following, you know, second and third stringers and discussing some of these positions more and who, if somebody maybe edged somebody else out that we didn't see, Kenyon Barner or Cameron Artis-Payne is going to be a fun one to watch. Who else were we talking about? Damiere Byrd, the wide receiver spot. You know, I think they may, regardless of what he does or doesn't do tomorrow, I think they kind of probably already know what they want to do with him. We just don't, because they know what they can get out of Damiere Byrd.
Yep.
I don't think they have to see it in the preseason game necessarily, but obviously it'll help if he can do something. So it's going to be fun to watch. But Billy and I are going to go make some draft picks now in fantasy. For Panther Source, I'm Tripp Morgan. Y'all like, follow, and share us right here on Facebook. Share this. Tag some people. Get them liking. I'm Tripp Morgan.
Billy Harless.
Y'all keep pounding, and we'll see you tomorrow night after that game.